Chosen one, don't you dare scroll. Don't move. Don't blink. Heaven just arrested your thumb. This isn't emotional coincidence. This isn't algorithm. This is divine interruption. God is asking you to help this woman now, not later, not when it's convenient, not when you feel ready. Now, if you ignore this, you'll feel it, like a door closing quietly in your chest, not because God left you, but because timing matters in the kingdom. You don't know her name yet, but your spirit does. Heaven does. And the reason you stopped scrolling, that pull in your chest, that's not curiosity, my child. That's assignment. There are moments when God ties your obedience to another person's survival. This is one of those moments. What you do in the next 60 seconds will unlock something in your life you've been praying for, or it will close, quietly, permanently. Stay to the end, because I'm going to tell you why she's tied to your destiny, and what breaks open instantly the second you obey. This is a crossroads moment. Heaven is watching your next move, and so is your future. Don't scroll. I'll explain everything, but you have to stay. You've been strong in silence, haven't you, my child? You smile when people ask how you're doing. You say, "I'm fine." But when you get home, the house gets loud with quiet. The kind of quiet that echoes, the kind that reminds you who used to be there and isn't anymore. I see you. Heaven sees you. You've done the math 3 times this week alone, stretching one check into 2 weeks, watching prices climb while your budget stays flat. You've prayed over groceries, my beloved. You've stood in that aisle longer than you needed to, not because you were deciding what to buy, but because you were deciding what you could afford to put back. And nobody knows that. Nobody sees that silent battle, but God does. You're tired in your bones, not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, the kind that comes from doctor visits, medications, waiting rooms, and still saying, "I'm fine" when people ask. You've carried pain you didn't name. You've smiled through discomfort because you didn't want to be a burden. But your body remembers what your mouth won't say. And heaven has counted every wince you hid. Somebody stopped calling, didn't they? Somebody who used to check on you just stopped. Maybe it was family. Maybe it was a friend you thought would always be there. You kept forgiving. You kept giving. And it felt like nobody noticed. Like your love just disappeared into silence. You weren't asking for applause, my child. You were just hoping someone would stay. And when they didn't, you blamed yourself. You wondered if you did something wrong. You didn't. You're not losing your faith. Don't let anyone tell you that. You're fighting to keep it from being crushed by disappointment. You've prayed prayers that felt like they hit the ceiling and fell back down. You've believed for things that didn't come, and now there's a part of you that's afraid to hope too hard, because hope has hurt before. I know. Heaven knows. But listen carefully, chosen one. Don't minimize what you're feeling right now. Don't brush it aside like it's weakness, because the same God who counted every tear you cried in secret is now asking you to move. Your pain didn't disqualify you. It positioned you. Every silent night you endured built something in you that the comfortable will never carry. Endurance, compassion, spiritual authority that only comes through suffering. You think you're too broken to be used? You think you're too tired to matter? No, you're exactly where God needs you. Because the woman he's asking you to help right now, she's in the same kind of pain you've been in. And only someone who's walked through fire can carry water to someone still burning. This isn't coincidence. This is divine strategy. God doesn't waste pain. He assigns it. And yours just became someone else's rescue. Listen carefully, my child. The Bible teaches us that God orders our steps. Psalm 37, 23. That truth alone dismantles the idea that anything about this moment is random. If God orders steps, then He orders timing, awareness, and encounters. What you are experiencing right now did not slip past heaven unnoticed. It was arranged with intention, precision, and purpose long before you became conscious of it. When God brings someone into your awareness, especially with urgency, it is rarely casual. Urgency in the spirit is often a signal of alignment, not pressure. It means heaven is highlighting something that matters now, not later. God does not rush without reason. If your attention has been arrested, stirred, or unsettled, it is because this moment has weight attached to it. Think about this carefully and without minimizing it. God could have handled everything on his own. He is all-powerful, all-knowing, and unlimited in resources. He does not need intermediaries. He does not need permission. He does not need assistance. Yet again and again in Scripture, he chooses to involve people. God could help her himself instantly. One word from heaven would be enough. One breath of divine intervention would resolve everything. But instead of bypassing humanity, he often weaves his solutions through human obedience. This is not because of limitation on his part, but because of design. God values partnership, but he chose you. That choice alone should sober you, not because you are perfect, but because you are available. Not because you are the strongest, but because you are positioned. God frequently selects people who are willing before those who feel qualified. The call is not about superiority. It is about responsibility. Why? Because God often moves through people. He delivers provision through hands. He speaks comfort through voices. He brings rescue through action. Throughout Scripture, God sends help in human form. Joseph positioned in Egypt for provision. Esther placed in a palace for such a time as this. David running an errand to a battlefield, stepping into destiny. Ananias sent to Saul, trembling but obedient. Ruth serving Naomi, unlocking lineage and legacy. Divine help often wears human clothing. He releases miracles through obedience. Miracles do not only happen when heaven moves. They happen when people respond. A step taken in faith can unlock what prayer alone has been waiting for. Obedience becomes the bridge between God's power and someone else's breakthrough. He answers prayers through willing hands. Many prayers rise to heaven, asking God to send help, not realizing that God is already stirring someone nearby. Sometimes you are the answer to a prayer you did not hear, but were positioned to fulfill. Heaven responds not always with thunder, but with assignment. We are God's fellow workers. 1 Coríntios 3:9. That statement is not symbolic language. It is a responsibility statement. To be a fellow worker means God entrusts you with participation in his work on earth. He invites you into what he is already doing and gives you the honor of involvement. You are not just watching a situation. You are standing inside a calling. This is not passive observation. It is active alignment. What you do next matters. What you choose to ignore or embrace carries consequence. This is not coincidence. This is a divine intersection, and heaven is paying attention to your response. Heaven saw everything, my child. Every single thing that was done to you. Nothing slipped past God's eyes. Not the betrayal you never spoke about. Not the kindness that was mistaken for weakness. Not the way people used your patience like it was permission to take more and more and more. Heaven saw it all, and heaven is responding. Listen carefully. God is not silent. He never was. He was watching, recording, marking every tear, every moment. You stayed kind when cruelty surrounded you. Every time you gave, when you had nothing left to give. God saw the spirit behind what was done to you. The jealousy that wore the mask of friendship. The manipulation that dressed itself up as need. The voices that drained you and called it love. What tried to break you will not get the last word. That chapter is closing. Right now, this very moment, God is not only healing you, my beloved child. He is reordering outcomes. He is reversing narratives. He is restoring what was stolen. Your peace, your clarity, your provision, your authority. Everything the enemy took while you were too tired to fight back is being returned, not in pieces, in fullness. This is not just about punishment. God doesn't operate in petty revenge. This is about restoration. Divine justice doesn't wound. It rebuilds. It resurrects. It reclaims. And right now, heaven is reclaiming your story. The people who walked away thinking they won, they didn't. The doors that closed in your face thinking they blocked you, they didn't. God was redirecting you, protecting you, positioning you, because what's coming requires a different version of you. A stronger version, a wiser version, a version that knows its worth, and refuses to settle. Now here's the part most people miss. This woman you're being called to help, she is not a distraction. She is a divine intersection. The enemy loves isolation. He whispers that you're alone, that no one understands, that your pain doesn't matter. But God breaks isolation with holy assignments. He connects you to people who unlock something in you, and you unlock something in them. This is how heaven moves. Through partnership, through obedience, through compassion that costs you something. So listen closely. If you ignore this nudge, you stay stuck in the old rhythm. The rhythm of disappointment, the rhythm of delay, the rhythm of wondering why nothing changes. But if you obey, if you move when God says move, the rhythm shifts. Instantly, doors open, favor flows, clarity comes, provision appears. Because obedience is the bridge between where you are and where God is taking you. God is watching right now. Not just what you believe, but what you do when He nudges your heart without giving you all the details. This is your moment. This is your test. This is your turning point. Heaven saw what was done to you, and heaven is responding. The question is, will you respond too? Listen closely, my beloved child, because what I'm about to tell you will reshape everything you thought you understood about breakthrough. When you help her, 3 things release simultaneously. Not tomorrow, not eventually. The moment you obey. Release number 1 is protection. Some battles you've been fighting in the dark, some attacks you didn't even see coming, they stop. Not because the enemy got tired, but because you moved when God said move. Obedience creates a shield. Heaven responds to action, not intention. The second you step into compassion, angels step into position. Suddenly, doors that were about to close stay open. Conversations that could have gone wrong turn in your favor. Accidents that were scheduled get canceled. You won't even know what didn't happen because God rerouted it before it reached you. Release number 2 is provision. Here's the mystery most people miss. You become the answer to someone else's prayer, and God sends answers to yours. Not as a transaction, as a principle. When you open your hand to give, heaven opens its hand to you. Sometimes it's not thunder from the sky. Sometimes it's a phone call, a referral, a check in the mail you weren't expecting. A door you didn't even know existed swings open because you were faithful in the moment nobody was watching. Whoever is faithful in little will be faithful in much. That's not motivational talk, my child. That's Luke 16:10. That's spiritual law. God is watching how you treat the small assignments because they reveal how you'll carry the greater ones. Release number 3 is access. This is where it gets supernatural. What she carries unlocks something you couldn't reach alone. Favor moves through relationships God appoints. You think this is random? You think heaven just accidentally nudged you toward her story? No. She is connected to a door you've been praying about. A breakthrough you couldn't manufacture. A level of provision, insight, or opportunity that required a divine introduction. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6:2. That's not charity. That's alignment. That's how the kingdom moves. When you lift someone else's weight, God lifts yours. When you stand in the gap for another soul, heaven stands in the gap for you. And sometimes, beloved, sometimes the very person you help becomes the bridge to your next season. A connection you needed. A resource you couldn't access. A testimony that opens a room you've been knocking on for years. This isn't theory. This is how God works. He doesn't just bless individuals. He weaves destinies together. He creates collisions that look like coincidence but are actually divine orchestration. Helping her is the hinge. Your next season swings on obedience. Not perfection. Not your resume. Not how loud you prayed. But whether you moved when heaven whispered. Now, this moment, my child, this moment right here is not interruption. It's invitation. And what you do next determines what opens next. Now listen carefully, my child. Heaven doesn't ask you to figure everything out. Heaven asks you to move. Here's what obedience looks like when God speaks. First, you pray one sentence. Not a long prayer. Not a spiritual performance. One sentence. Lord, show me who she is. and what help means today. That's it. God doesn't need paragraphs. He needs permission. Second, you do one immediate act within the next 60 minutes. Not tomorrow, not when you feel inspired. Within 1 hour, call her, text her, check in, offer a ride, send groceries, cover a copay, share a resource, pray with her, connect her to someone you trust. One act, one obedient step. That's all heaven is asking. But listen closely, beloved. Help does not mean enabling. Help does not mean being used. Help does not mean draining yourself dry because someone demands it. Help means obedience with wisdom. God will never ask you to destroy yourself to rescue someone else. That's not compassion. That's codependency. And heaven knows the difference. So here's your boundary line. Give what God assigns, no more, no less. Compassion with clarity. Generosity with discernment. Love without losing yourself. You are not responsible for her entire life. You are responsible for this moment, this assignment, this one act of obedience. Now seal it. Speak this aloud, right now. Lord, I will not withhold when you tell me to move. Say it out loud. Let your voice carry faith into the atmosphere. Let heaven hear your agreement. Because here's what most people don't understand. Delayed obedience delays outcomes, not as punishment, as principle. When God opens a door, it's open now, not next week, not when it's comfortable. Now, timing in the kingdom isn't suggestion, it's strategy. What you do today unlocks tomorrow. What you delay today may close permanently. Not because God is harsh, but because divine moments have divine windows, and windows don't stay open forever. You feel that urgency in your chest, that restlessness, that pull? That's not anxiety, my child. That's assignment knocking. So do it. Do it while the window is open. Do it while heaven is highlighting her name. Do it before the moment passes and you're left wondering what could have been. One prayer, one act, 1 hour. That's all God is asking. And when you move, when you obey, you won't just help her. You'll unlock something in your own life that's been waiting for this exact moment. Doors open for the obedient. Miracles follow the faithful. Breakthrough chases those who move when God says move. So don't hesitate. Don't second guess. Don't talk yourself out of it. Move. Now, here is the hope you must hold on to. When God asks something of you, He has already equipped you. You are not lacking. You are not behind. You are not unqualified. God does not call the prepared. He prepares the called. And right now, He is preparing you for the next chapter of your life. What you release today will return to you multiplied. What you sow in obedience will grow into favor. What you do in love will echo into destiny. Do not ignore this stirring in your spirit. Do not talk yourself out of obedience. Do not underestimate the power of one faithful act. Help her. Stand in the gap. Move when God says move. Because when you say yes to God's assignment, God says yes to your future. And this moment, right here, may be the key that unlocks everything you've been praying for. But I need to warn you. In the next message, I'm going to expose the 3 counterfeit interruptions the enemy uses to stop you right before obedience. 3 spiritual blockades designed to make you hesitate, second guess, and miss your moment. You need to hear this, because what's coming for you is too important to lose to distraction. Right now, if your spirit is reacting to this, do not ignore it. Like this message as your agreement, not as entertainment, as a covenant. A yes that says, Lord, I will not withhold when you ask me to move. Subscribe so you don't miss the next instruction heaven releases. This is not about content. This is about assignment. And the remnant needs to rise together. Drop your city and nation in the comments. Let heaven see where the willing ones are standing. Let the body of Christ know they are not alone. To those who are supporting us by giving into this ministry, whether through the link pinned in the comments section or the super thanks feature, understand this. You are not just supporting a message. You are partnering with an assignment. Your seed is a prophetic yes, a declaration that says, I will not close my hand when heaven opens a door, and God is marking that, recording it, honoring it in realms you cannot yet see. Chosen one, help her. Because when you say yes to God's assignment, God says yes to your future. Your breakthrough is tied to your obedience. Your miracle is connected to your movement. Your destiny is waiting on the other side of this decision. Do not let fear win. Do not let hesitation steal what belongs to you. Move now and watch what heaven does next.